great pass. What a catch!
My goodness.
What an amazing catch from Vicky McFarlane.
Highlight reel. Never say yes to the jest. That was fantastic.
Saratoga making a push for home.
Misses 400 herself. 13 strikeouts for Gabby Snyder and one of the best pitching performances we've seen this season. What a fantastic grab by Emma Burridge. She climbs the ladder and brings it down. Atkins bounces this up the middle. That's going to score a run. Bruins score two. Deep to left field. This is back, and this one is gone. It's magic from Madeline.
Good afternoon and welcome to West Beach for the Adelaide Club competition A-grade season. Well, Lee Hull is joining me here in the commentary position. James Harris calling the action. Welcome, Lee.
Thank you, James. Good afternoon, everybody, and it's a delightful afternoon here at West Beach after looking not promising weather-wise.
Yeah, early rain during the day, but as you've said, conditions are perfect for softball. Well, today's clash, Lee, is a little later than normal, but we might see a bit of a change in our broadcast schedule over the coming weeks, where we try to pick up some of the best action as we lead into the race for the finals.
It'll be fantastic, and it's hotting up again, isn't it? Every week, every game, there's something hinging on it.
Well, today we see the clash between the Walkerville Cats and Hills Heat and Lee. It is two different stories for these two teams at the moment. We have got Walkerville Cats sitting pretty second place on the ladder. They look pretty comfortable considering they've got the lowest runs against in the competition, but a recent draw against Seacombe just saw them drop off the pace from ladder leaders West Torrens by a single point. On the flip side, we've got the Hills Heat fighting to stay in contention for the finals.
Yes, and then now with Port Adelaide losing to Seacombe in the 2 o'clock game, the Hills are only 3 games away from Port Adelaide, but with a decided poorer runs against, as in 37 to 99.
Well, you rewind a week or a week and a half back to the first game, the return from the Christmas New Year break, and we actually saw that the Hills were perhaps fighting out or battling out that fourth position, that last place in the finals against Sturt. However, they've been very impressive so far in their return, and they've jumped ahead of Port Adelaide. They're 3 points clear after an impressive 11-1 victory over Glenelg earlier today.
Yes, they're a danger. I know our esteemed producer, Mr. David Muggleton, likes Sturt a bit as we get towards the finals, but that will play out, I'm sure.
The other game played earlier today was Seacombe Tigers versus Port Adelaide. As you mentioned, Lee, a bit of a shock result as Seacombe got over the line 4 runs to 1. And a bit of retribution for the Seacombe Tigers after Katie Sutherland-Finch threw that perfect game. First time they met this season. Bit of a different looking side though for the Tigers today. Jenny Dunn went 3 for 3, and also they had American import pitcher Kim Reeder on the stripe.
Yes, and it was at least probably nearly 50 games between the two. And so, to be honest, Seacombe did not look like losing. I haven't seen Kim Reeder pitch as quick as that and with terrific control most of the time.
Well, we're about set to get underway for the Walkerville Cats versus Hills Heat. And Lee, I'll give you an opportunity to go through the lineup if you can, just quickly.
Thank you, James. It's at first place, Karen Dale. Third is Ash Merkin in the pivots. Desi Giamarellis second. Steph Collette at shortstop. Left field is Sophie Roberts. Centre, Michaela Robinson. Sophie King at right. Battery, Jessie Dreswick to Chelsea Robinson. And this is a strong side.
And Amber Hood to lead it off for the Heat. She watches this one patiently on the outside for ball 1. A strong side, you said, Lee. They are sitting up top of the ladder, the better part to be. They'll have a double chance should they keep their form running, but they've got the Falcons hot on their heels. Just 1 point behind them. Hood already at a 2-0 count. And moves to a 3-0 count. So Chelsea Robinson, returning Travelodge Aussie Spirit representative, has a couple of quick words to her pitcher in Jessie Dresick, who's also on return, but from summer vacation. She spent the 7 weeks helping us here on Spacequake Sports, but also calling the action for the under-17s, of course, from earlier in January. But then she went on a 17-day tour along the East Coast with very good friend Vicky McFarlane.
Yes, a good turn-up bat here for Amber Hood. You know, that's what you like from your lead-off hitter, don't you? Start of the game, make a statement. You're going to have to throw. You're going to have to get me to full count, I think.
Well, 3-1, so into that hitting count. And Hood gets after this one, fouling it off, and will go to a full count now. Lee, we do generally try to give you the stats if we've got them. Amber Hood's leading the competition by a mile for walks. She's had 18 or something walks for the season, not including these games this side of Christmas. She'll go down on strikes this time around. She's just pulled up a little ginger. We called one of their games earlier about a week or so ago, and she was carrying a bit of an injury, so maybe she's still
feeling the effects.
Uncomfortable, yeah, in the box. Well, Emily Hopkins will come to the box at second in the order. Dresick was way behind in that count, wasn't she? 3-0, and she just come back with 3 hot pitches. One that Amber patiently watched so she could see a strike, and then fouling one off, and then she struck out.
And that's
swinging.
what good pitchers do, don't they? They come back, they've got the equipment to come back with those strikes.
Hopkins has a cut at this one and swing and a miss. I suspect that we'll see a few of those today, Lee, as Jessie has picked up the pace a little bit this half of the season. Yes,
she has. But as I said before, I saw the entire game of the Port, and I firmly believe, I think at times Kim Reeder was throwing harder than Katie Sutherland Finch. Now, if you'd have said that to me 40 or 50 games ago, I would have said you're dreaming. But no, that was correct. So good fun for the Tigers.
Check swing from Hopkins, and Robinson just asked the question of Hall of Famer plate umpire Neville Lawrence, and Kevin Tannenbring gives the no-go sign. How's the experience of the umpires on the diamond? Kevin Tannenbring at first with Damien McCauley on third, and then the Hall of Famer behind the plate. I'm not sure if we've got a more experienced crew.
I'm thinking I'm not arguing too much with them if I'm out there in the field.
Hopkins gets bat on ball here. Dale has to back and will take a catch, and that is the second out. Normally we see Karen take a tumble when she normally fields the ball, whether it's a stretch out at first base or even a little catch. So good that she's kept her feet on this occasion.
Yes, and she is playing very consistently.
Of course, one of the more consistent players in the Falcons lineup is Georgia Hood. One hop to Steph Collett at shortstop, and she just makes that play look easy, didn't she? That went hard. It was a one hopper, and statewide super replay will show it that Hood gets after the early strike, and good pickup from Collett.
Yeah, lovely play from Steph, and Wednesday night's game, Steph was outstanding in the field. Made some great outs. So we'll have a look at the green team as they go out in the field. They have a couple of bench sitters today, and it's Nikki Brennan and Coach Tanya Hood. So full day for Tanya, driving all the way down from Murray Bridge, from Mount Gambier. I knew it started with an M. And then had to play B grade. Now she's on the bench. So I'm looking to call her in the field of play sometime, but I think only as an emergency, I believe. He's around the field. Georgia Hood pitching to sister Amber. First base Kelly O'Brien, second base Alex Mackey, Third base, and Mando Reggie Fairley. Shortstop, it's Danny Perez. And at left, it's Mackenzie Ween. Centre is Emily Hopkins. And Courtney Mays at right.
Well, you mentioned the strength of the Cats lineup just earlier, but when you look around this diamond, there's state representatives and Aussie representatives all littered all through this field, and so on their day, I mean, the Hills can match it with any side, so don't count them out just yet. And of course, they'll be led by the Hood sisters. Georgia just returning a late call-up for the Asia Pacific Cup and Summer Slam events, where she performed very admirably. She was in as a development player and took some great opportunities, including hitting a Grand Slam in the Summer Slam event. So she was very good.
I know you'll talk about it a bit later, James, but we're all interested to hear how it went. A lot of people saw it on Foxtel, and so I'm sure you'll give us an update on that later.
Arundale, the leader for the Walkerville Cats, the most experienced player on the diamond and in the competition.
Yeah, and another person you'd like to have leading off can hit the ball to all parts of the diamond. You throw away from her, she'll hit you out to right field with at a rate of knots. So she's valued. Until then.
You may have heard it in the effects, Mike. There was a slight groan. That's steely resolve, though, Karen Dale. She's a bit of a gritty player at times as well, but you know, manages to get the job done more often than not. 2-2 the count now. As she swung at that pitch just prior and then saw that one through safely over her head, and now to a full count.
Terrific batting again.
You want your lead off to run deep. You want the pitcher to throw a couple of pitches, and just so your whole team can have a look. And on this occasion, she'll pop up to left field, perfectly placed. Out at left field is Mackenzie Ween for the first out, and both lead-off batters doing a pretty good job, although unsuccessful getting on base. They both went to a full count.
Well, the main thing is you don't just give the pitcher and catcher the edge by just swinging at the first pitch randomly, and then, you know, 3 pitches and you're out of there. Make them work.
Steph Collett is the 2-hitter for the Cats. Now, normally you see more of a traditional softball lineup with your best player that gets on base, first batter, then your best bunter, maybe best short game player. But we see for both teams, you see Emily Hopkins batting 2 for Hills Heat, who has a bit of a reputation for hitting a long ball, and then you see Steph Collett, who is quite athletic. She can power the ball as well. So are we seeing a bit of a change in trend in softball lineups
I think
now?
so. I think so. And you look through all the sides. I mean, most times it's a dead giveaway when you're coaching against them, and you think second girl, yeah, she's going to bunt, irrespective of what. But no, there's a bit of a change.
Well, we do see Sophie King on deck batting in the 3 spot now. She can hit him into the gap. She can pierce a gap and leg out an extra base hit. Otherwise, she is renowned for a short game. So, yeah, batting in the 3 spot.
Yes, that's interesting. But they look like they bat all the way down in this particular game, James.
Likes of Benithan at 6, Roberts at 7, Merkin at 8, and Michaela Robinson at 9. They probably have the most depth in the comp if you have a look at that lineup.
Certainly in the batting they have, yes. Now the wind's playing havoc with some of the visors.
When we do look at the ladder, we speak of runs against because that determines a break of a tie. So if you're tied on points, it's the lower runs against that count, and Walkerville have 30. What doesn't really count is the runs for, and West Torrens have the most. They've got 81. We see a ground ball to third base, and Fairley just made it a little tough for O'Brien at first base, taking off the base, and Steph Collett is aboard, the first base runner of the game.
Good, yeah. It's Steph, as I said to you before, I'll touch on it quickly again, she was brilliant in the field on Wednesday evening. It's the best game I've seen her defensively.
Well, just speaking about the runs for the West Torrens with 81 and Walkerville have 74. Sturt now 80 as well. Sturt have definitely got two of the best hitters in the comp in White and Cameron. However, the the West Torrens lineup definitely has the most of the elite batters in the competition through their lineup. They also run pretty deep as well, but Walkerville 1 through 9, I'd probably say are up there.
Yep. Well, it's interesting you say that about West Torrens. We all appreciate how strong their batting is, but on Wednesday evening, Kim Reader struck 10 of them out. And I think going back to the game where Seacombe played Walkerville and there was a 0-0 draw, Seacombe have turned the corner, and big time, I would think. And that's on the back of Kim Reader's performance, surely.
Well, they've only got 5 games left. They can't make the finals.
No.
So even if Port Adelaide will lose the rest of their games and Seacombe will win all the rest of their games, their runs against are too high.
Yeah, negates it, doesn't it?
And so they are only really playing for the love of the game at the moment.
And that showed.
Seacombe Tigers. Nothing on the line. They're playing without a care, and so when you're more relaxed when you're playing the game, sometimes you do play a little better, don't you?
Certainly do, James.
All right, let's get back to the batter in the box now. Sophie King has gone to a full count. She's fouled a couple off already. Steph Collett remains at first and setting up on the outside. Good piece of the ball from King, but great take out at right field, and well read from Courtney May. We have seen the wind has been a factor in some games this season, and Courtney May, you can see her hair just blowing in the breeze, so actually might be a little heavier than what it feels like where we're sitting, Lee, but good catch in the end for the second out.
We're a little bit sheltered, and like you said, Courtney read it straight off the bat, which is half the battle, isn't it?
Hitter now in the box, Chelsea Robinson, who is definitely one of the elite players in the competition, and we saw her last week at the Asia Pacific Cup and SummerSlam, and she was part of the Bandits team that were undefeated going into finals. They just dropped their game against a steal attempt here from Collar, and she arrives safely and almost thinks about an extra base. Oh, we've got a slight injury here. Danny Perez has got a finger injury here by the look of it. We heard in the effects mic, don't look at it, Danny. It was if this is a dislocation, I don't want to see anyone try and pull it back into place. It's it'll be interesting to see on the statewide super replay. Tanya Hood ushering her off here. Here it is, right on cue from Spacequake Sports. The statewide super replay as Collett takes off, and pretty good throw from Amber Hood. Well, it's on her throwing hand. That's the most interesting part about it, is that it was, here's another angle of it. And perhaps it was as she had to take the ball to her right side, she's twisted and turned, and I'm not sure about this. I might be a little unfair on Sophie King that they've called her over to help out. Here's a slow-mo replay. Oh, she's tried to catch the ball. Oh, look at that finger stick out there. She tried to cover the glove with her throwing hand to secure it in the glove to effect a tag, but the ball has hit it flush on the end of the finger. Dislocation. Look at her reaction there. So
nasty.
Feel for her is You know, the dislocated fingers occasionally are sometimes a short recovery. You see some people pop it back into place and get back out there. Otherwise, you see them, they can take a little while to recover from. We saw one of the New South Wales men's players miss the entire tournament from a finger injury, and they were runners-up at the John Reid Shield. And well, that'll affect the change for the Hills Heat. So it looks like Brennan has come into the game for Danny Perez. Super slow-mo replay. We can see that it spilled out of the glove. That may have been because it hit the finger. Now, you didn't see an immediate reaction because in the heat of the moment, the adrenaline's up, and she might not have even known that it.
I wonder whether it was when she was trying to get herself to her feet then. Continue on, let's have a look.
No, the ball's hit her square on. Look, she's already holding her hand. Okay, look at that finger bent back. That was that's a ring finger on the right hand. It was at a 45-degree angle. So excellent vision and footage from our team at Spacequake Sports, and in my opinion, the best softball broadcast in the country. And you don't get that kind of quality replay just from anyone. So we'll get back into the action. Has Mackenzie Ween come into shortstop?
That's what's happened.
And Brennan out to left field. Three balls is the count as we return to the action. There are two out. There is a runner on second base. That is Steph Collett, who advanced to second on a stolen base. Well, that is where you want to pitch him to Chelsea Robinson. Don't give her too much to hit, and you can see that they've pitched around her. By no means they're trying to get to a lesser hitter in Desi G. Morellis, who we've already seen a few home runs from this season. Robinson gets after this one on the outside, and another fly ball to right field. Courtney May takes her second catch of the inning and the third out of the Walkerville inning. So after one complete inning, it is 0-0, and we'll see the statewide super replay.
Yes, good judgment again, wasn't it, by Courtney?
Lee, the Hills really do need all available players, don't they, for them to be successful, you'd think, in making the finals and their run home to the finals. And with a player of the calibre of Danielle Perez just going out, you'd hope for a speedy recovery. And has Sophie King returned to the game? This is why I think it was a little unfair for them to call upon Sophie, who is a paramedic by trade. Here she comes, and back onto the field. So that's just the slight delay. Also, we were just waiting on the catcher as well, Chelsea Robinson, who was the last out of the inning. So Dresick might only get one warm-up pitch here, and we'll see Kelly O'Brien lead it off in the second inning for the Hills. I was just saying, Lee, the calibre of player of Danielle Perez, if this is a long-term injury,
it's going to hurt real bad for the green team.
Yeah.
And some of them have to play B grade as well because of lack of numbers. So it's a long season, isn't it, for the girls?
Okay, Kelly O'Brien. A hitter for the Hills Heat.
And she can hit, Kel.
Fires that one in first pitch for a strike. And fouling the second one off. So Dresick really getting herself ahead of the count here and wasting no time on Kelly O'Brien with 2 strikes the count.
2 strikes.
And well left from O'Brien. That one bouncing in the dirt. Lee, I didn't get a tip from you from at the beginning of the game, but considering what's on the line and you know, the Hills really needing to battle it out here. Kelly O'Brien with the ground ball over to Gia Morellis for the first out. Seeing what's on the line, do you think it will change your tip at all? Because on paper, you'd probably look at the Cats and say Walkerville by 3 or 4, but what do you think, mate?
Well, I think with Georgia Hood, any team with Georgia Hood pitching brings down the deficit. So I'm going to go 4-2.
Well, here is the replacement player for the injured Daniela Perez and Nikki Brennan up to bat. 4-2 is a ground ball now to Collar, who will fire that across over to Karen Dale for the second out. So 2 pretty quick outs. And Alex Mackey will come up to bat. So 4-2, you said, Lee. Now, if you look at recent results, now Walkerville has played against Seacombe. They had a 0-0 draw, and then who did they play next?
West Torrens, 2-0 loss.
When was that?
Sorry, you're talking about Walkerville. Correction. Yeah. Who did they play then? There was 7-0 Glenelg.
7-0 against Glenelg. So, well, Glenelg been decimated, haven't they, with the loss of their Czech import pitcher. She's carrying a maybe a career-ending shoulder injury from what we've heard on the most recent reports.
Okay.
Career-ending. She may have to take up another position because she can still swing the bat, can't she? Barb Skopova.
Yep.
We wish her all the best.
Yeah, see, I was surprised she didn't pitch against Walkerville the other night, Wednesday, but that's obviously the reason. So Sasha Penglaze did most of the pitching, and Taylor Mead got an innings, I think.
Great pitching from Dresic, who strikes out Alex Mackey for the third out. So in order, in fact, that's 6 in a row for the Cats, and second strikeout for Dresic. Now, well, let's just touch on Glenelg just quickly. If I was to throw a name at you of Montana Edwards, you probably wouldn't believe me, but she was the starting pitcher for Glenelg today.
In the A grade? Yes, okay. So maybe Sasha wasn't available through work?
She only lasted a couple of hitters and then a change to Amber Dodd-Mobius.
Oh, okay.
One of the junior players that have emerged through the ranks and has also played a little bit in the A grade here or there, and then there was a change to, geez, I'm testing myself now. They had another change. I think they had 4 pitching changes throughout the game. So they're using part-timers now, and that's not good for any A grade team.
No, it doesn't help. And I wasn't aware that Monty, as she's known, could pitch. Obviously she could.
All right, back to the action. Hills Heat Walkerville Cats are in the bottom of the second inning. It's 0-0 ball game. In fact, there's only been 1 base runner to this point. And Desi G. Morellis.
I'll tell you what, James, we've mentioned it before, but the hitting, the hard hitting continues. G. Morellis, Bonithan, Roberts, Merkin, Robertson, Michaela. It just goes to the very end, doesn't it? So much so that Jessie, who batted the other night, Wednesday, crunched one out to, I think she was caught out at deep centre field, centre right. She got a chance to hit. They tell me she hits the cover off the ball. Are you surprised? I'm not.
Love a pitcher that can swing the bat, but I'm pretty sure she was batting in the left-handed box, wasn't she, Lee? That exposes the right pitching arm, so definitely no need to risk it. And having Hayley Bonithan in the designated player role today, so it'll be interesting actually to see if Dresic will get another turn at bat this year. Oh, Jim Morellis gets a fair piece of this ball, and it's in the gap, heading out towards the Bob Burns blind sign out. A pick up out at centre field from Emily Hopkins and reduces it to a double. Well, great piece of the ball, G. Morellis.
4 bounces into the fence there. And yeah, well, that's Desi, isn't it? Desi can bat like that. She's been batting like that for years.
One of the crafty veterans of the competition, G. Morellis, and this brings up the designated player, Hayley Benithan, with no outs, runner in scoring position. No coverage at second base, but G. Morellis not really going anywhere. There was a bunt, a shape to bunt from Benithan, and another signal put on from Hall of Famer coach Sue Tomlinson. Shows bunt and fouls this off, so well, Tomlinson going to the short game to ensure G. Morellis on third. That just gives another option to score, doesn't it? Like any blooper or ground ball to the right side, or a any hit to the outfielder, whether it's a fly ball or a ground ball, will score that runner from third. Whereas it's going to take a pretty good single from Benithan, or maybe even one over the head of the outfield to score from second. So Tomlinson opting for the 1 out runner on third rather than no out runner on 2, giving 3 batters a chance to bring him in. And as you look through that lineup, you'd probably back your Sophie Roberts to do the job. So Benithan doing that, sacrifice bunt, executed to perfection, and G. Morellis over to third.
Yeah, no chance of Georgia Hood going for Desi G. Morellis going from second to third. It was just put where it had to be put. So the option was, now here's danger, real danger. This girl was really hitting the ball very hard indeed. Sophie Roberts.
Well, didn't want any part of that one, down and in. So obviously Roberts looking for a different kind of pitch to drive and score this runner. 1 out. That's the one she wants, and G. Morellis can't go anywhere in a ground ball back to the pitcher. It's
good result for the Hills then.
Yeah, they've got out of a bit of a jam with that one, but they're not out of it yet, because not quite out of it yet, with Ash Merkin now up to bat, so they have one more chance to bring in that runner. I was also going to say, with the speed of Benithan as well, you'd almost consider maybe Sophie Roberts as a DP. I'm sure she's already thought about that, and method behind any of the decisions made from the experience under that coach's cap, isn't there?
Certainly is, and she would have been through all scenarios.
Straight up the middle from Merkin.
And George is thinking to herself, what was that went by? It was motoring.
Well, Merkin found a nice patch there at centre field, and gee, Hopkins was quite aggressively placed there, but was never going to stop that run from scoring. A pop-up, first pitch. Talk from the Hills required, and Merkin's going to advance to second on that one there. Just a slight miscommunication and a nice hit to Robinson. Well, a blooper at best, you'd probably say, and all 3 of those players then, none of them were going hard for that ball. So
no, and the thing that concerned me there, James, on the second part of that play was right fielder Courtney May rifled it over the third, and there was no backup, no person in the backup position. That is run scoring material if ever I've seen it.
It did go quite high, so we probably had a slight expectation that one of the players would have got there, but with Mackie fielding in a little bit and May just back a bit because of this breeze, it's probably any other place in the diamond and it would have been caught. Well, Hopkins takes charge here and runs in to make a good catch, so that one's not getting past them this time. So no damage in the end for that missed opportunity as the third out is made, but Walkerville, gee, they had a good inning, didn't they, off 2-3 hits and that sacrifice bunt from Benithan. They score the first run of the game.
Yeah, so a couple of identical shots there at the end from Michaela and top of the lineup, Karen. So top 3, and we're with Mackenzie Ween, who's now playing at short stop. Then Courtney May, Reggie Fairley, and they're at the top of the lineup with Amber Hood.
Well, you can give the heels maybe one time through the lineup, but if they are battling through 4, 5, 6 inning, one run actually might be enough, but there's not going to be any let up from the Cats. So if you can get some contribution from the bottom 3 hitters in the heels lineup, it's going to give them a better opportunity to challenge for this win.
Certainly will. It'll be a big start.
And Mackenzie Ween represented under 19s just last month, so she should still be in reasonable form, you would think, with then Courtney May, who was in a junior Aussie squad a couple of years back, so no slouch on the softball diamond. So maybe we might see a bit of a charge come from the bottom of the order from the Hills heat.
And Reggie Fairley batting at 9 was really impressive in the Home Run Derby, wasn't she, Reg, again?
The MC Sportswear Home Run Derby at the recent Senior State Championship. She was leading all comers going into the final round, and then it was Cody Manning who, from Mount Gambier, ran over the top of her in the final.
Yes.
4 back-to-back titles as well to Cody.
Getting a bit greedy, I'd suggest there, James. But obviously got the skill, because you need skill to win that Home Run Derby.
Well, a strikeout from Dressick. That's strikeout number 3. We'll keep our eye out on the strikeout count for the game. And now we go to Courtney May. So we will need to get some ball into play here if we're the Hills heat.
Yes, we need some. You need some people on.
May goes aggressively at this first pitch, and we did see a good piece of the ball from Georgia Hood. She hit it quite hard to Steph Collett. Even it was Nikki Brennan's ground out to shortstop as well. So they've had a couple of pieces of the ball, but just going to want to try and get a couple into the gap. That's better from May, leaving the high pitch. And 1-1. Courtney gets a piece of this ball, and it is going to drop into that no man's land that we spoke of just last innings with Michaela Robinson's shot. Well, Courtney May gets one of her own back, so a single to the Hills heat. There is only the one out, and up to bat is now Reggie Fairley. So
here's a chance.
Here is a chance with just the one out, and Reggie can hit the ball as we were talking about. Then we go back to the top of the order. So Hills heat threaten.
Yeah, well, those little Texas leaguers, as they're called, known as, they just hurt you. You can't be defending every part of the ground.
Pick off attempt. Gee, you saw second base. Gia Morales was right on the spot there, so I think she read that signal as a pick out, a pick off or pick out, and you watch her move here in the statewide super replay. She breaks even before the pitch is released, so I think that, well, Karen took the ball, so she was in the right spot, but oh, pop up. This is not going to help the Hills heat as Gia Morales takes a good catch. We were just talking about that pick-off attempt, so maybe the ball was meant for the second base player to try and catch out the runner, Courtney May, but she was back quickly enough and catches the outside of the base and avoids the tag from Dale. So 2 out now. The pop-up was the second out of the innings. Back to the top of the order for Amber Hood. Who was representing the Stars just a month ago.
Well, the softball being played in by some other girls.
40,
fantastic experience.
46-year drought for the Stars in their first appearance in a Gillies Shield final since 1973. So she was a key contributor in that team, and let's see how she can go here against Dressing.
People, one strike.
On the outside, so that eager and keen and very good eye from Amber Hood. She has got herself into a good count again, 3-1. She went to a full count last turn at bat before a strikeout victim, #1 for Dressick. It's a piece of this one and a couple of hops over to shortstop, and Collett just couldn't quite get a handle on that one, and a ground ball to the shortstop affects the runner, moves over to second base. The statewide super replay will show on the second or third hop it is on Collett just in front of her, so they've needed to attack that one a little bit to stop it from bouncing that third time, you'd think.
Yes, I think so, but it's all right with the benefit of the hindsight, isn't it, really? But this diamond specifically.
Well, Hopkins gets a piece of right field, but safely under the ball is Sophie King, the ever-reliable Sophie King. So if that was a couple of metres either side, the Hills may have had an opportunity to tie the game up. Statewide super replay will show a good piece of the ball from Hopkins, opposite field, driving the outside pitch, and good catch from Sophie King.
Yeah, and 5 batters presented in that innings for the Hills heat, and 4 of them got bat on ball. So that's good signs, and there's only 1 run in it at this stage.
Yeah, that's important for the Hills heat to not only remain in this game, but to battle it out, improve every time you come up to bat, and I think we saw that with those 5 batters. There will be a slight delay as Amber Hood will come in. She just had to get dressed as the catcher, and just looking at your notes, Lee, 21 games to go before the finals begin in March, and Mad March we'll probably call it, because we're going to bring you all 4 of the finals here live on Spacequake Sports. So once that draw becomes available, we'll get it out to our fans watching at home in the live stream. There's the Spacequake Sports live stream, and you never know who may feature, and the big names normally step up at the pointy end of the season, don't they?
They certainly do. The most experienced, usually.
Yeah, well, you can keep watching the live stream or catch the highlights of big plays on the Softball SA Facebook page, YouTube and Instagram. You can catch the action from home, from the comfort of your couch on NITV, Channel 34 and SBS, Sundays at noon. And that's all thanks to Softball SA and Spacequake Sports. Steph Collett returns to the box, her second turn at bat. She got a good piece of the ball and was the first base runner of the game. That was her first turn at bat, and it was a ground ball over to third base, wasn't it? And then just the throw was a little bit off the mark, but I can see on your notes, Lee, that you've given her a safe hit, so very kind of you. Pulls that ball, so she's definitely looking for an inside pitch and looking left side here, Collett, as we have seen that she's been one of the pickups of the season, hasn't she? Because she had a couple of seasons at Morgan State University in the USA, and she just bolsters this lineup, doesn't she, for the Cats?
She certainly does, and enables Chelsea Robinson to catch.
Again, to the left side. She finds the gap this time in the 5-6 hole, and Lee, I'll just quickly make mention as we watch the statewide super replay, as this ball will go between the shortstop and third base, and I saw at the SummerSlam just last week some pretty good tactics put into play here. We saw the right fielder come in and fill up a second shortstop position. So we saw the the 5 infielders rather than the regulation 4 infielders. Even the second bases switching up the middle and fielding behind the pitcher, and that caused a little bit of havoc for a couple of teams, and lots of double plays, which was great to see. So for King, will put down this sacrifice bunt, leaving third base open. Steph Collett turns and goes. No one's at third covering, and well, Brennan got there not in time. Probably should have been backing up, and Amanda Fairley has also not got there in time, and Steph Collett's extra base on the bunt turns into 3 bases, and crossing the plate for the second run of the game. Statewide Super Replay will show a perfectly executed bunt from Sophie King, even nearly beat it out. Alex Mackey had to slightly hesitate as we watch the fielders collide, and a ground ball back to the pitcher here, Georgia Hood, for the second out. So 2 outs in 2 pitches, but in between those 2 outs we saw a run, and
yes.
2's going to be tough to catch on Walkerville with Jesse Jurassic pitching a gem at the moment. They've only given up the 30 runs so far in the season, which is less than 2 a game. So 2 runs is always going to be tough to get. I remember when Monica Perry was thrown for the Falcons, and anytime Sturt scored a run, you almost shut the book. She went like a crazy amount of innings without giving up a run, something ridiculous, like 70 innings or something at one stage without giving up a run. So every run is vital here in the competition.
Well, I think in my own personal opinion, she's the best pitcher I've seen come here.
Yeah, we've had some talent, haven't we?
We have.
We've seen the likes of Vanessa Stokes and Steph Drzinski for local talent, and then of course we've seen some other big names as well, the likes of Chelsea Cohen,
Gabby Schneider,
both Cath Coral medalists, as well as Monica Perry was a Cath Coral medalist. There wasn't a season that Monica didn't win a pitching award in her 3 years that she was there, but those last couple of names also won them as well, didn't they? Cohen and Schneider. So,
and lately we've had Jessie Dressley and Kim, and also Katie Sutherland Finch, and Glenelg had a couple of years ago Morgan Lashley.
That's right, a strikeout on that pitch. It was a swing called, and we're just watching how that run was scored, and offensive pressure from Walkerville was the key to that, because they took off on the pitch. That was Steph Collar as we watch her cross the plate, and didn't even hesitate as she turned second base, didn't even break stride, and that allowed her to arrive safely at third. It would have been close if the throw was on the spot, and that slight hesitation from Mackey as well, because there was no one there to cover the base. So just a bit of a breakdown.
Yeah, that's right.
From the hills.
Pointless throwing the ball, and Alex did the right thing then, just held the ball until there was somebody there in the proximity of the base.
All right, 2 runs is the deficit. We've completed 3. We've got 1 strikeout from Georgia, you've just pointed out, Lee, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
One strikeout from 15, 16 batters, whereas Jessie Jurassic has the 3. Now, where's the 2 runs going to come from for the Hills Heat?
It's a very good question.
2 to tie, that is. So where's the 3 runs going to come from to win it?
What about one with George putting one over the top?
Well, she is one of the stars of the competition, and every time I mention how good a player we have, the caliber we have in this state, I always put the mocker on them. So I will keep my mouth shut on how good she is. I'll let her bat do the talking. Watching that one high for a ball. So 2 balls on Georgia Hood.
She'll be looking for something upstairs a bit, I think, because that'll go further.
That one on the outside edge. Well, I'll tell you, Lee, the home run grand slam I saw at the Summer Slam, I was calling the action, and the pitch just sat up just a little higher on the outside edge, and she was able to bury the ball out to centre right field. So it wasn't even in her wheelhouse that she likes to pull the ball probably the opposite side of the field to centre left, and she will take a 4-ball walk.
Was Bell White you were talking about?
That was Georgia Hood.
Oh, George.
Georgia Hood's
right.
Grand Slam.
And
Bell White
did,
also hit the walk-off in the grand final.
Yeah.
The Grand Slam walk-off in the grand final to win the first and inaugural Summer Slam event. And that was some great footage as well. Her celebration afterwards was something to watch. The whole crowd was right behind her as well, and it was something to experience.
Well, it's
seeing our finest.
Yeah, it's great for that competition. Maybe we'll get it here one day, James, in the not too distant future.
I'd love to see fully loaded softball played here in South Australia, and you can get all the resources you need and find out how to play the game on fullyloaded.com.au. And then we've also got, you know, who knows, maybe we could start something up here in on Spacequake Sports. What do you think?
Oh, I think it's a very good idea.
We'll have to check with David and his schedule. I think he's a wanted man.
Well, a man that climbs cliffs should be wanted.
Well, a nice piece of the ball from Kelly O'Brien, but the double play was even better. Desi Giamorelis fields a nice ground ball, gets it across to Steph Collins at shortstop, and throws it across to Dale for the double play, a 4-6-3 double. It was great from Collett as well to move out of the way of the base runner, give yourself plenty of room to make that play.
Yeah, just don't get in the way, because they run into you and they'll be saying obstruction.
Well, that is going to slow down that momentum that the Hills may have just had, because they've had some runners on base in this and the last inning that they batted, and a double play from Walkerville. Gee, that was sharp.
Yep, fantastic. And when you're playing against a side like Walkerville can hit and do everything, then you need to take the advantage where you can, you know. You may not get as many on as you want, but I believe in the Seacombe game against West Torrens, apart from the 10 strikeouts by Kim Reeder, Seacombe left 8 people on base. You don't win many games by doing that.
Well, my very good friend, our very good friend Scott Redigan, told me that they had more base runners than Walkerville as well when they had that 0-all draw. It was it's been a pretty good return from the Tigers, and Nikki Brennan nearly squeezes a hit up the middle there, but too good again at shortstop. Steph Collett, she is having a season for the Cats and been very important, hasn't she?
She certainly has.
Well, super slow-mo here on the statewide super replay will be the double play, and Kelly O'Brien only had a half swing at that, so that may have actually been why she's dragged her foot off. That super slow-mo is shown, well, perhaps that first out was not made, and maybe that is why our replay was shown, and I'm not going to mention anything further on that one there. It was very tight. But anyway, the out was made. So let's go back to the replay, and it just shows it there as, oh, that was actually pretty close. So not a bad play from Collett at all. Well, maybe another move here, Lee.
Yes, I think so. The charming Tanya Hood is here making a change, I think. Oh, she's trying to take over the place now, Tanya.
Okay, so the shift in the field is just to probably give a reprieve to Reggie Fairley. He's going to move to a more familiar position out in the outfield. Alex Mackey's going to come across to third base, and Courtney May to second. Now, this is all happening, I would also suggest, because Daniela Perez has come out of the game with an injured finger. We haven't seen her return, so we'll see Mackenzie Wynn move into shortstop as she started at left field, and Nikki Brennan is the replacement player out at left field. So wholesale changes here for the Hills Heat in the bottom of the fourth. Hayley Benithan, the hitter, up to bat as she fouls that one off. Two strikes, so behind in the count early here, just past the 50-minute mark, and we play a 90-minute game as we're getting through the innings reasonably quickly, and that may have something to do with the quality of pitching that we've seen so far from both teams. Georgia Hood, of course, for the Hills Heat, and Jessie Dressick for the Cats, and Hayley Benithan in the DP role today.
Yes, yes, she caught on Wednesday night. Obviously, Chelsea was away. It's pretty flexible for a young player, Hayley.
Well, we've seen her play a bit of second. Maybe that was last year. Left field, catching. So she's quite versatile. It's a piece of this ball. Good pick up from Mackenzie Ween, and a great throw as well. So good opportunity for Mackenzie Ween, because normally if Daniela Perez isn't at shortstop, it's Amber Hood, because Alex Mackey comes in and catches on occasions for the Hills Heat. So we normally see her on the right side of the diamond at second.
Yes, we do, and very good. She attacked the ball then, Mackenzie.
Well, that was pretty good, I thought, but ball called from umpire Lawrence. So we saw Roberts leave that one last inning as well, the one that was down and in, and maybe she's either got likes a keen eye, likes to see one go past her the first pitch, or otherwise she just doesn't like those down and in. So maybe a plan from the Hills Heat.
Oh, that was a good pitch then. Forced into playing a shot, but knowing Sophie Roberts, she'll look for something that she can free her arms to and crack it like a bullet out there.
One more. 2 strikes.
Well, a ground ball to Mackey, and she's going to be tested here. Makes a good play for the second out, and so that change was successful for the Hills Heat as we see Mackey move from second over to third base. Statewide Super Replay will show the ground ball, and quite tentative actually, wasn't she, as she came across, and Roberts couldn't quite beat out the throw.
Just took a little pace off that pitch then, George, and that resulted in that little bobble down, and that's not like Sophie Roberts. Normally up the middle or right centre hitter of the ball flat normally.
Ash Merkin now for the Cats. She got that hit out to centre field and brought in the first run of the game, didn't she?
She did that. Yes, it was a great shot, wasn't it? Been a very good find from, well, she came with them, didn't she, Ash?
Oh, sensational pickup for the Cats, having an international player or American player who played some college softball just, move over to Adelaide and g'day guys, I'm Ash Merkin and I'd like to play softball.
And she showed us she can.
Oh, she's got a great arm, isn't she? Good,
certainly,
good infielder and capable hitter as well. And she'll get herself a walk.
Well, they've got to get out of this innings now, the green team, because 2 out, just need to buy an out. May I suggest if you play your right fielder that deep, then you may not buy 1 out that area.
Well, the 9-hitter for the Cats, Michaela Robinson, and pitching that one through for a called strike.
I see centre fielder Emily Hopkins shielding her eyes from the sun here.
Yeah, the late afternoon sun will start to come into effect. We've got a bit of a shadow that, the pitcher will start in the sun and then move into the shadow as she's delivering her pitch, and then right as the ball comes through the strike zone, there's a bit of a sunlight as well. So tough conditions out here for the players. Runner takes off, and that's who else it would be tough for as well, the catcher, because the shade, the ball travelling through the shade and then in through the sun as it travels through the strike zone would be right when the catcher would be watching the ball into the glove. So you never know what's going to happen here as a runner does move into scoring position for Robinson. Piece of the ball out to the left side. Nikki Brennan will field the ball and fires it in quickly, but will not be accurate enough or in time to force Merkin out at third. And Michaela Robinson does a great job for the 9-hitter as the 9-hitter for the Cats, and she's aboard safely at first for the second time in this game. So we mentioned the contributions for the 7, 8, 9 hitters for both sides, and Merkin and Robinson just might be the best in the competition at that part of the lineup.
Well, Amber Hood, catcher Hood, threw the ball down for the pick-off to Alex. That's fine, but the left fielder, Nikki Brennan, was very deep. The ball got away, and shortstop, Mackenzie Moon, was moving over there. But, yes, when you're going to pick off at third, it's got to be spot on the mark.
All right, we've got 2 on and 2 out for the leadoff hitter. Karen Dale is coming to her third turn at bat for the game, so she could break things open. Right, here is Hood, tries that pick-off attempt again. There was some backup from Brennan on this occasion, Lee.
Yeah, well, they're only chasing 2 at the moment. I'm thinking, unless I'm certain, I'm not going there. Play the percentages.
The power of Dale could even see the runner from first get around if she splits the gap in the outfield, because she will take off on any piece of the ball as there is 2 out.
Yeah.
3 balls and 1 strike. The count now on Dale, and not seen a steal attempt, although that runner from third has had 2 pickoff attempts. So a walk to Dale will load him up for Steph Collett, who's having a game. She's probably one of the statewide super performers of the game, and
certainly
with a couple of hits and a couple of sharp plays there in the field. Of course, across the plate, she was the second run that scored in the game on that extra base she took on the sacrifice bunt from Sophie King just last inning. So 2 out, loaded bases as we reach the hour mark. Steph Collett. That one had a bit of heat on it. Actually, I've seen Georgia has not faded off at all so far in this game. In fact, she may have even stepped it up a little bit in these last couple of innings. So the team definitely looking to Hood to lead from the front here as she tries to pepper that outside edge. And
well, I'm still thinking centre fielder and right fielder should be in a bit, because if the ball lands, it's probably going to be 2-run score here. Just catch the ball.
Piece to her base, and Alex Mackey, all she has to do is turn 1 step to her right.
A very good pitch from Georgia Hood then, just gave her nothing to put strength to and just dribble it down the line.
Well, statewide super replay will show that she'd been setting her up on the outside, and now she comes to the inside and it gets the ground ball, and that was a great little setup and a good plan from the Hills Heat, because first 3 pitches were all on the outside edge. And then she busts her inside for a cheap out to third. Good play from Alex Mackey. She had a couple of ground balls that inning. So, well, they're not out of it yet, the Hills Heat, but they do need to capitalise on any opportunities they get from this point on.
And they certainly do, and they need to get people on and then work them around. Play the percentages, just get them around another base. There's times in this game, James, that you need to put yourself in the position to buy and out with bases loaded. The ball lobs in, 2-run score, when you could have caught the ball, if you were in a little bit shallow in the outfield and get out there with nothing, then that's what you do. Percentages. Play the percentages.
Well, Alex Mackey is one of the young stars of the competition. She was first year out of under 19s and just shows the character of the young lady. She's given back straight away as a state under 19 men's assistant coach. So great to see that she can give back to the sport and, well, maybe even rewarded for some efforts there as she gets a single up the middle. So lead-off runner aboard for the Hills Heat.
And don't you like people like that involved in our sport? Giving all the time, with their time.
Well, I reckon she gets it from her mum, one of the volunteers of our organisation.
It certainly runs in that family.
Well, Mackenzie Ween now with the job to move this runner into scoring position and maybe even more to get herself aboard, because they are running out of time and they're running out of outs. The Hills Heat were in the top of the 5th and we're past the 60-minute mark, so about 28, 29 minutes to go in this game. We will finish any inning that we start, so Walkerville, though, will have the advantage of having the last bat of the game if required. Great
Good choice, good choice, good choice.
Just saw you motion, Lee, that you would be putting a bunt down, and this one on the statewide super replay will show it here that the bunt goes back to Jessie Dressick. Really attacked the ball as Karen Dale comes in, and actually they both reach the ball at the same time, and all it takes is one split second, doesn't it? And now we've got 2 runners aboard for the Hills Heat with Alex Mackey on second.
And none out, I'd be going short again here. But not fancy, just get around. The infield, the people on the lines, Dale and Merkin, know it's coming, will oblige them by putting it down. They have to field the ball and execute a good throw to make an out. There's none out.
Courtney May, the hitter, gets a piece of this ball and splits the gap.
Choice.
This one goes to the outfield fence. Mackey's got to turn at 3 and score. Here comes Ween. She's going to cross the plate as well. Courtney May runs into third base, does not slide. She's the hero of the moment. However, a 2-run shot to Courtney May all the way out to the fence. Robinson with the job in front of her to run it down. She hits the cutoff player in Steph Collett, firing across to third. And the tag was made, so 2 runs brought in from Courtney May. She tried to stretch it into a triple, but Walkerville on top of it there with that relay.
Well, we spoke about her able to get a long ball when she gets a hit, Courtney, and gee, that was well struck off a quality pitcher like Jessie.
Yeah, great piece of the ball after she really missed that bunt attempt, and good to see that she could just bounce straight back and swing the bat, put it to the fence and score 2 and tie the game. Well, Reggie Fairley has a swing at that pitch and will go behind in the count 0-2, but she can keep her head on this one and watch the ball onto the bat. It goes down on strike, so that's the second out as we see the Courtney May shot. She did watch that ball onto the bat, and we see the 2 runners cross the plate. First one was Mackey, second one was Ween. And if you'd think that if May had slid into third on that occasion, maybe she would have avoided the tag, but unfortunately for the Hills, she chose to stand up. She did have a quick look at the umpire, turn around and quick look, but we couldn't quite see if the tag was made or not. It looked like it was an out, so good call from umpire Macaulay. And that ball getting away from the catcher just then may have allowed May to cross the plate. So, well, an opportunity gone begging, you'd suggest, for the Hills Heat.
Candy nuts, yep. You never know, you just play the percentages and you get the results.
outside for a ball. Here we go. Here is the replay. Steph Collett fires that in, and she's cold on the throw. Merkin had to reach. Peels the out. Courtney May. Should have slid, mate. Let's get back to the action. Amber Hood now. High for a ball. And
I tell you what, a different complexion's come over the game, hasn't it?
well, Hills, although the first 2 innings had the first 6 batters retired, have threatened. They've had runners on base each of the last 3 innings, and as we just saw, 2 runs across the plate, 2 hits from the 8-hitter Courtney May to match that of Merkin for the Cats.
She'll be looking for a rise up the order, I would think.
If you're just joining us, Danny Perez has come out of the game with an injured finger. Strikeout on the outside edge, so Hills Heat hitter Hood just couldn't believe that one on the outside.
She was impressed with that, Amber, but it will not change the result.
And this statewide super replay may show it. That one on the paint of the left-handed batter's box, but close enough to be called from umpire Lawrence. So 2 close calls going in the favour of the Walkerville Cats in that inning. But it was the Hills Heat that scored 2 to tie up the game, and we got a ball game, Lee.
Yeah, and full credit to the green team because they come back hard. They could have slipped up, and Walkerville getting further and further away, but not to be.
Well,
So could there be 2 upsets on today, James, out of 3 games?
Well, I was just about to mention the other result of today saw 4th place Port Magpies take on 6th place Seacombe Tigers, and it was Seacombe that got over the line 4-1 from a terrific batting performance from the Seacombe Tigers with 7 hits, from what I understand, off Sutherland Finch, and a great pitching performance from Kim Reader, keeping the Port Adelaide Magpies just to the 1 run, and they ran out 4-1, but then it was a one-sided affair at the 4 o'clock game for the Sturt Falcons, running way over the top of their opposition, the Glenelg Rebels, in 7th place. They won 11-1 lead.
Yes, and Barb Skopova not being available hurts them badly, as it would with any team in A grade without their #1 pitcher. Sophie King's the hitter, the #3 hitter for the Cats here. Looking like she's going to slap it hard. There's a very tight innings here now, the green team. Just see if they can get up 3 up, 3 down, or 4 up and 3 down. No, Sophie King's got other ideas. Gets herself a base hit out to Nikki Brennan. So she's on board, and it brings in a catcher, Chelsea Robinson.
A great piece of the ball from Sophie King, and that'll bring a smile to the face, a rare smile to the face of Sue Tomlinson as the leadoff gets aboard with a cracking shot from Sophie King.
Terrible.
Well, maybe a bit of respect shown to Hood on that occasion, because Sophie King's one of the quickest in the comp. And I would have thought straight out steal, but a bunt attempt from Robinson, and it's fouled off, and she's on 1 strike.
Dead ball.
In the box.
2 attempts then for the bunt, without success.
2 shots.
Well, this will be interesting because that sort of takes her all the other options now. Maybe a hit and run, but if you're catching, you're not going to call this anywhere near the zone. Oh, good piece of the ball. Oh, wow, did you see that hop? That's going to go to the fence, and there is absolute no luck or justice in this game. Chelsea Robinson's going to touch them all. A 2-run shot from Robinson, as that ball just bounced 8 feet in the air over the shortstop's head on one of the hardest bounces I have seen off this diamond ever. Let's watch the statewide super replay. Wow, that bounce has wow, I'm speechless.
I tell you what, if he was a 7'2" basketball from the US, you may have just worn that. But poor Mackenzie Ween, gee, didn't it? Wasn't it fierce? She was out of danger, but it cost 2 runs.
Well, the Hills Heat, a absolute unluck as as that almost looked like it was going to be a regulation ground ball. They may have had an opportunity for a lead runner, but a high fly ball from Desi G. Morellis and safely caught from Emily Hopkins at centre field for the first out. The statewide super replay is from the Robinson hit. She didn't even know it. She thought it was a ground out to shortstop as well, but Sophie King was on her bike. She would have had the best seat in the house of that one as the ball bounced over the top of the shortstop, Mackenzie Ween's head, and into the gap. 2 run score.
Yes, well, every picture tells a story, doesn't it? Told one then. Desi hitting the ball hard again out to centre field, as in her first turn at bat.
Well, good hands from Hayley Benithan on that occasion, as she is keen to have a go at this one. She's already had 1 strike on her, so looking to protect the zone, but also do a good job for the Cats, who are now 2 runs in the lead at the bottom of the 5th, so they answer straight back after the Hills Heat scored 2 on that double from Courtney May.
Yes, they come back quickly.
Great pitch and a good spot from Georgia Hood. Hayley Benithan would have been teammates with Georgia just 2 weeks ago at the Australian Under-19 Championships. Now opponents. Strikeout from Hood, gets the better of Benithan on this occasion. Just hits that outside edge, which we saw Amber Hood strike out on the previous inning. Gee, that is absolutely brutal. The statewide super replay showing, and it beats the left fielder as well. So Brennan had to get on her bike, and that just could not get that relay in any quicker. 2 runs, the result. Well, Sophie Roberts now the hitter for the Walkerville Cats.
Hasn't hit the ball out of the infield until this turn at bat. This is going to go right centre, maybe centre right, I think. Interesting scoreline, sir. 4-2. Seems to ring a bell.
4-2, of course, was the prediction earlier in the game from Lee Hull. We are bringing you live softball action, and you throw plenty of predictions out, Lee, but I'd say you're better than 50-50.
I would have thought more like 85-15 myself. But,
great pitch from Hood there, cutting the bottom of the zone there, and about to hit the 75-minute mark. So there's no new innings with 5 minutes to go. Is that right? 85-minute mark. So if the Hills Heat can get this out, we may have time to go to a 6th inning. Well, we will have time to go to a 6th inning, and
she looks
one more opportunity.
Sorry, she looks out of sorts a bit here today in the batting box.
Well, Roberts was playing in the Under-19 Nationals and also played in the Cricket Nationals earlier in the year as well. So
centre right. No.
Centre field catch taken by Emily Hopkins for the 3rd out. Lee Hull does it again with a prediction to centre right. That was to the right side of centre field, so I'll give you that one as well, Lee. As we watch that statewide super replay once again of the Chelsea Robinson home run. You will never see another one like it. That ball was absolutely brutal on the second bounce. You watch her put her head down. She thought that she was gone for all money. noticed that the first base player wasn't setting up and looked up to see that the ball was traveling to the fence, she would have absolutely no idea of what would have happened then. Maybe even thought that it had gone between the legs, but it in fact bounced over the top of the shortstop, overhead height. Lee, have you ever seen anything like that?
No. In a word, James, no.
Well, Lee, you are not the best colour man in the business for nothing, and that explains it all. That one-word answer, no, because it would never have happened in a game before.
It's just unbelievable, James, really. I'm nonplussed.
Well, Lee, we will bring you live softball action every Wednesday and Saturday for the remainder of this season, which will travel deep into March, with the one exclusion of the Junior State Championships, which is over the Adelaide Cup long weekend. No Saturday games. This Wednesday night, we'll see the Hills Heat back in action against the Sturt Falcons. Emily Hopkins leading off this 6th inning, a ground ball over to Steph Collett, who's been one of the statewide super performers of the game, and that's the first out of the top of the 6th. So Hills Heat back in action, Lee, on Wednesday night against the Sturt Falcons. Sturt are running hot at the moment, mate. They're making a charge for that top 2 spot.
And they have 3 pitchers, 2 young girls in Millie Fidge and Zali Adams, and also Jasmine Strangler, who came on at a pitch last game that I saw of Sturt.
The return of Jazz Strandland will be a feature for the Falcons, and a good handy pickup as they head into the finals. But they've got such a great young team, haven't they? Atkins and Jessie Keach and Jordan Lee, and not to mention the stars in their team as well, from Sarah Tonkin to Maddie Cameron to Belinda White, and gee, they will be a handful for any team in the finals.
Certainly will.
Okay, Georgia Hood for the Hills Heat has gone to a good hitters count, 3 balls and 1 strike. She's been very patient her last couple of turns of bat, hasn't she? After grounding out in the first inning on a hard shot to shortstop, a good backhand pickup from
on the first pitch. She'll be looking to crunch one here.
Another walk for Hood, so they are not taking any chances on Georgia.
Sensible pitching, isn't it, really?
Well, after she got a hold of that first pitch at her first turn at bat, although it was taken very well at shortstop from Steph Collett, they have not given her another strike, have they?
No, 2 base on balls.
Dressick just shows a little bit of her class by coming straight back at the Hills Heat hitters and Kelly O'Brien. Hands right up the grip. Shows bunt, gets it down as well. Dressick will do the fielding. I had one eye on third base, which was left open. Sophie Roberts came in to cover. I'm sure the Walkerville dugout would have preferred her to be back up, but the statewide super replay showed Dressick making a good throw just in time as well. Gia Morales holding up Georgia Hood at second base. So great defense shown from the Walkerville Cats. 2 out, and Nikki Brennan, who's in for the injured Danny Perez, a finger injury in the bottom of the first inning when Steph Collett stole. Georgia Hood is caught in a rundown. Ash Merkin will chase her back. Obstruction there, and arrives back safely. Just a little late in the throwback from Merkin, but statewide super replays show a pickoff attempt off the knees from Robinson caught Georgia Hood in no man's land, and yeah, the statewide super replay shows her back safely. Well, what a great pickoff from Robinson then.
Yes. Looked like she had a cold, but George, a little bit too smart then.
It's almost as good as an out as well when you catch a runner like that. You get him into the rundown. You'd be a little bit disappointed that the out wasn't made as a catcher, but you'd be satisfied that she didn't advance. Nikki Brennan, now I was just saying she's in for the injured Perez, who had a finger injury in a stolen base attempt. To this player here, Steph Collett, who's been in the action. There's the trademark Karen Dale that we know, and a smile comes over her face.
I was going to say just before that pitch, James, that Nikki's been to bat twice before that innings, and Steph Collett's thrown her out to Karen Dale now on 3 occasions out of 3.
Well, that's good hitting from Brennan, getting the ball into play, because Dresic has been tough to get away. Is that 5 strikeouts in the game so far, and only really given up a couple of hits as well. 3 hits, I think, by the looks of things, with 2 of them coming from Courtney May. Well, 6-3 on 3 occasions for Nikki Brennan, coming in for the injured Daniela Perez. I'll get through the story this time. 3rd time lucky, as Steph Collett on a stolen base. We saw Perez had to reach to her right as she was breaking to her left and tried to cover the glove with her throwing hand. The ball has hit her finger, and if it's not a dislocation, it may be worse. It could be a break, because we saw it on a 45-degree angle, and we wish her all the best for a speedy recovery. Now, Lee, what does that do for the Hills Heat if Brennan is, Perez is out for the season with a broken finger, potentially? We hope not, but do you think we'd see the return of Hood to shortstop, Mackie back into catch?
Yes, I think so. We just need to tighten up the field there, because they had to shift it around a lot, move people around. I think that's the answer. But
Emily Hopkins into the infield as
yeah,
well,
Emily
possibly.
Can, yep.
She has been pretty good out at centre field, and we know that she's
Reliable.
versatile and can play pitcher, and comes in and thumbs in a few from the pitching mound as well.
Yeah. Well, when you haven't got a lot of players, you need flexibility.
Well, Merkin gets a good piece of the ball to start off the bottom of the 6th inning, and the Hills Heat need 3 quick outs if they want to extend this game any further. Otherwise, that will be it for the game after these 3 outs are made. And Merkin does the right thing by her team, and a lead-off single. As Mackenzie seems to be in just a little bit more than usual. I think maybe it's because of the sun and the shade. If she's in a regulation fielding spot, she might even have 1 foot in the shade and 1 in the sun. But lead off on for the Cats, and Merkin's 2nd hit, 3rd time on base for the game. So the 8 hitters doing it for both teams, Lee.
Yes, and I think just touching on Mackenzie, she's probably also aware of that ball that reared up fiercely before, so perhaps she doesn't want another one. Yeah, you know.
Of course, that'll be in the back of your mind when you get a bad hop like that.
Wouldn't it?
And a foul ball on this occasion from Michaela Robinson, who's also had 2 hits for the game. 4 hits coming from the bottom 2 hitters in the order.
Can't ask for much more than that, can you?
Great piece of the ball, and a catch taken from Courtney May on a line drive. Merkin took off. Your coaches can't do anything about that. You can tell the runner to freeze on a line drive, but that was hit so well that Merkin didn't even think twice about holding up. As we see the statewide super replay, Courtney May was Johnny on the spot and rolls a great double, so maybe they've found an infielder in Courtney May, although unconventional as a left-hander, as this one comes off the glove of Georgia Hood over to the shortstop in Mackenzie. We knocks it down as it's about to go back up the middle, but Karen Dale's aboard for the Cats. So straight away after a double play, Dale goes after that one, and we're about to hit the 85-minute mark. So if they'd got that out, they may have got another chance, but this may be the last batter of the game, with Steph Collett up to bat. It's 4-2 in favour of Walkerville Cats, the bottom of the 6th inning, and it's been a good game. It's been a good tussle. Another shot to the left side, so Steph Collett has done it again. It's a 2nd hit of the game, and she has been on fire at shortstop and on fire with the bat. Of course, she crossed the plate as well earlier in the game, scoring the 2nd run of the match, and she has definitely been one of the statewide super performers of the game, Lee.
Oh, certainly. She's done it both ends, hasn't she, really? batting, the fielding, the throwing. She's really found the purple patch of form.
She doesn't have any RBIs, and 2 of those come from that shot from Chelsea Robinson. That
scored a run herself.
Fortune favours the Brave on that occasion, on that one for Robinson. But who else for you? I think Merkin's been pretty good, mate, with a couple of hits and a walk, batting 8 in the order.
I don't think I can go past Steph.
Well, this one here is Sophie King, and oh gee, this ball goes wild, and Karen Dale's going to score. It's the 5th run of the game for the Walkerville Cats, and that is just going to be enough as well for the win. As we cross the 86-minute mark, let's see the King hit out to left field, and they are always tough on anyone who's on the receiving end of a King hit lead.
Yep, that's right. Not that I've been on the end of it.
2 out and 2 still on base as well for the Cats, and we see the home run hitter in Chelsea Robinson. We'll call her the lucky home run hitter, Lee, as that we'll never forget that bounce, will we?
No, and I don't think the shortstop will. Or the left fielder, Nikki Brennan, who had to
chase it down.
She had to chase it down from a position where she wasn't in to do it.
I've been, as we watch Chelsea Robinson and Georgia Hood 1-1 the count. Swing and a miss from Robinson. I've been handed back the under-17 girls MVP trophy, Lee, and I can see some names on this that are at battle at the moment. Georgia Hood and Chelsea Robinson, both recipients of this award. This one here's a little chink at second base, Courtney May, and because she's a left-hander, she's in a tough spot to make that play from up the middle, and catch a speed-up rule will be applied, although there won't be any more action. Sophie King will return to second base. Statewide Super replay will show that 2 runs will score, and that will be more salt to the wounds of the Hills Heat. It is now 7-2. The score not really reflecting the how close the game has been, because the Hills Heat had actually had the momentum in the middle part of that game, hadn't they?
Yes, they have, and Walkerville just kept coming with the bats.
Another very impressive performance from the Cats. G. Morellis fouls this one off, and a bit of play time now for the Cats, as we see 3 hits so far in this inning, and they've put 3 runs on the board, and maybe they are taking full advantage of these opportunities as they run into the finals. A win here will put them 1 point ahead of West Torrens at the top of the table. West Torrens, of course, have the bye today, which will put them 1 game in hand and 1 point behind ladder leaders Walkerville. And high for a ball, so 1 ball and 2 strikes to count with Sophie King, the temporary runner for catcher Chelsea Robinson, who's picked up 4 RBIs for the game, Lee.
Yeah, that's fantastic also, James, but Desi G. Morellis been out the centre field twice. I'm not doubting that she won't go out there again. Just need to catch this ball when it's out in the air out there, and Emily has.
And the runner takes off on the pitch with 2 outs and a full count. And we reach the 90-minute mark of the game, and that will do it, as the team batting second is ahead as we reach the time limit. So we don't need to finish the game after all, and the score will remain at 2 runs to Hills, 7 to Walkerville Cats. Well, Lee, although a close game for 70, 80 minutes of that match, it was that one fortunate bounce on that Chelsea Robinson hit to shortstop, Looked like it would have been a routine out, maybe even a lead runner, double play chance, but it bounced way over the head of shortstop Mackenzie Weiner, and from that point on in the game, Walkerville took the lead and didn't look back.
No, that's exactly correct. You've stated it perfectly, James, and very disappointing for the Hills Heat, wasn't it? Just to get a ball like that, because they were in it. They were in it up to the hill.
Yeah, Heat were definitely not out of the game. But if you have a look at the way that it panned out, they had no luck whatsoever. We saw an early injury to Danny Perez, who came out in the bottom of the first inning, didn't even get a turn at bat. And then we saw that the field had to switch around, move around, so there was changes made. And then a couple of calls went in the favour of the Cats as well. And then that ground ball to shortstop. It was all in the favour of Walkerville.
Yes, it certainly was in the end, but they'll come back and fight another game on Wednesday evening, the Hills. But
yes, that's right, against Sturt.
Finding players to fit in there, you know. It's Amber goes back, like you mentioned, Amber goes back to shortstop. And
potentially, yeah.
Yeah, potentially.
But this Wednesday night, we'll see a different Hills lineup again, because Georgia's of course travels up from Mount Gambier each weekend, so she's not generally available on the Wednesday nights. So what does that mean for the Hills Heat now? With 19 games played, they've got 5 to go. They've only won 6, even if they were to win their last 5. And as you've mentioned previously, they've got top 4 teams remaining, except for that one game against Seacombe. So they've got Sturt, Port Adelaide twice, West Torrens and Seacombe remaining in this game, and Seacombe's just beaten Port Adelaide, held Walkerville to a 0-0 draw as well. Yeah,
that's right, and was close against West Torrens as well. So, well, it's just a matter of hanging in there, isn't it? You know what it's like, coming down the last games. The ones that are in the finals, they'll be going, playing their best. Yep.
So runs against, I've just pointed to that one as well, and they'll go from 99 runs against to 106, and that's actually the 7th best. Let's put it 7th best. Let's try and keep positive for them in the league, because runs against count. So not only are they 3 games behind Port Adelaide with 5 games to go, but their runs against are 3 times as many as Port Adelaide's.
Yes, they certainly are, and there's not much you can do about it now. It's just keeping your nose down and get in there and play hard, hard as you can.
Well, let's wrap things up here from West Beach on this Saturday evening game. The Hills Heat versus Walkerville. Walkerville running out victorious 7 runs to 2, and James Harris and Lee Hull calling the action. Very special thanks to our broadcast partners, Statewide Super, MC Sportswear and MK Services SA. Thanks to Softball SA and Spacequake Sports. Good night.
Good night.